Hello and welcome to the Fully Booked Penguin channel. I am Hannah and today we are going to be doing our second episode of a library book reading. Hello or welcome back. If you are new here, I am Hannah. I'm a writer, I'm a reader, I am a K-pop, K-drama, entertainment enjoyer. And this is my little channel where I document both my writing and my reading and my general life. At times. I am chronically ill, so it depends on how I'm feeling to the day-to-day. But I try to encapsulate the joyous moments because you need to have that to look upon when you're in the flat, I find. So today I have got some books from the library and two of them are on my December TBR. So we are definitely doing those two first, even though the others on my little pile I'm really excited about. So we'll see if I get to all of these, but I'll tell you all of the books I got. So first up I have Newt's Emerald, which is by Garth and Nix, and it is an ebook, so I have it on my phone, and it is a historical fantasy. It's set in sort of Regency times, but they each have a family magic or a magic that they each possess. And in it, our main character's father has this emerald, which is meant to be passed to her on her 21st birthday. However, it goes missing, and so she has to disguise herself as a man, which she has done in the past, and search down whoever stole this emerald, and I believe she runs into someone who might become a romantic interest. And that's all we know about that one. Next on my TBR, which is definitely going to be read in this one, is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. I believe this is a YA fantasy. I have read nothing by this author, and I have no clue what it contains. I know it's about an artist who can paint emotions into pictures, and unfortunately she paints sorrow into a fey prince's eyes, and so he kidnaps him. That's all I really know. I don't like to read the blurbs because I feel like it's a bit of a spoiler half the time. Some blurbs do exactly as blurbs should and just give like a little inkling, a little thing, but others go into every plot point that happens and you're like, I don't want to know the plot. I want a draw-in, almost like a first page, but it just gives the vibes. I'm not exactly explaining myself. If I had already shared my blurb for my debut novel, I would share it with you because that is the vibe I want. But since I can't watch this space, I guess. A breathtaking fantasy story of danger and forbidden love. Oh no. Little critter died in it. Rip. So that is book number 2, Newt's Emerald, and this one will definitely be read in this vlog. And then the could get to, depending on time, restraints, and motivation, 3 more. The next up is a book that a lady in my book club read. In our book club, we don't all read the same book. We just read whatever books and then we get together and share what we've read. Rather than, we're going to read this one this month. It's just whatever you read. Some ladies don't read a book, but they still come for the company and the bookish community. And others read a pile. I technically read a pile, but I only bring a few. But next year, I'm planning to bring all my piles to wow the ladies and make the one that always takes a pile of books feel less alone. But anyway, one of the ladies, she read this one and it sounded right up my alley. Why? Because it has penguins in the title and the book. And I am fully booked penguin. So the book is Away with the Penguins and it is by Hazel Pryor. And so this is about a grandma who goes to the Arctic because she sees like a documentary on the TV about penguins. And so she decides she wants to go help with the penguins. So she just travels there despite them saying, oh, please don't come. She goes anyway. And then I believe a grandson or something chases after her to bring her back. And she's like, no, I'm here with the penguins. I think that's the very rough introduction to this book. It sounds like a general fiction book. So that's another option on our pile. Then we have Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This has been all over BookTube, Bookstagram, BookTok. It's been everywhere. And that is exactly why I got it, because I thought I'd give it a try, because I love the covers. I was trying to weigh up if it was just the cover that was attracting me to the series, or whether I actually was interested in the book. I don't think I am won over by the plot, because it's like an enemies to lovers and really Disney princessy fairy vibes. Yeah, with fae deals gone wrong. Here's the thing, I think she has to trade kisses for this bloke's help in order to win over her first love, which I don't really love triangles. So it doesn't sound like a book I will love, but I'm trying to go in with an open mind and just get it off my list so I can decide whether, yes, it is a book series I might like, or whether it's just the front cover. So this is it. This is me experimenting. So that little curious subconscious part of me can shut up whenever I see this book. That's what this one is about. So this is the first book in a trilogy, I believe. And the first one is Once Upon a Broken Heart. I believe the series is called a Once Upon a Broken Heart series. It doesn't have it on the cover, which is also bring back series numbers and things like that on covers, please. Because you might pick this up and think it's just this book, but it is a series. So, and finally, we have The Floating World by Axio. I actually was attracted to this because of not this cover, but a different one. I think it's the hardback. And it is just such a cool cover. And I was looking online, and you can get them, but they're a little bit more expensive, obviously, hardback. So I decided I have to read the book and decide if I like it before buying it. But I believe this is a duology, so this is the first book. See, has a little one there. You couldn't see that because of reflection, but it has a little one there. Looks like it's dual POV, and so we're following an ex-soldier, Sunho, who lives in the underworld, and then we're also following Ren, who is a spirited acrobat, traveling with her family. But they are attacked by a demon, therefore I guess that Sunho has to come and fight demons with Ren? No more reading because I don't want to spoil myself. Ex-soldier, acrobat, underworld vibes. Oh my goodness, look at the map. So that's the other one I am looking at. We are going to start with Newt's Emerald by Garth because there is an audiobook for that as well, and I believe I only have like 6 hours of audiobook for that one. It must be shorter, but I also have the ebook to read along or read when I'm not listening to the audiobook. Sometimes I mix it up, whichever mood I'm in for the reading time. I will begin this library reading vlog, and I will check in with you at the 25% on Newt's Emerald. Hello, we have our first update of the video. I have been reading Newt's Emerald. Well, actually, I've been listening to the audiobook, to be honest. It's helping me read it. So we are 27% into the book, and we are following Truthful, who is named Newt by these next-door neighbours, cousins / childhood friends. She sees them as brothers, they see her as a sister, kind of situation. So Newt is her nickname. And she lives with her father, and she has this maid that is a bit suspicious. Anyway, she's coming of age. I believe she's turned 18 at the start of the book. And her father brings out this emerald that has been in the family, and the women tend to wear it. And as he's showing it off to her and her brother cousins, things go quickly downhill, and it is stolen. Disappears from the room, and the general, her father, suspects the cousin brothers, and she's like, nah, couldn't possibly be them, so I'm going to track down the emerald. And so do the cousin brothers. They're all like, oh, I'll go over here to get it, and I'll go over here to get it. And she's like, I'll go to London because I'm meant to debut in society, so I may as well go there and try and find the emerald myself. But in the process, she can't do all her questioning as a woman. So her art's just a disguise. And that's why she becomes a different cousin who's in town, and he's a Frenchman. But there's a lot of suspicious characters around, people who say they're one thing but they are another. Very suspicious. So that's where we're up to. It did take me a minute to put my head into the right genre, the right kind of style. There are some things that I'm like the brother cousins, they get drunk and just other little lines and things like that. And this is meant to be a teen YA, but I don't know. In my personal opinion, I'm enjoying it now that I'm doing the audiobook and just listening to it as I read. A 2-in-1, as they call it. So that's where we're up to, and I'm about to go eat dinner. But yeah, I'm kind of just reading whenever I feel like it, and I'll check in every time I've got a new update. I'm also reading other books in the meantime, just to get through my TBR and have a little break from the library ones. I said I'd be right back. I am 61% through the book, and stuff is happening. It's a little adventure, it is, really, and I'm enjoying it. Is it the greatest adventure slash romance of all time? No. It's keeping me entertained, which is really what. Is it a 5-star? Probably not. It's got just a couple of points that I don't really enjoy. And there's not super depth to the characters, but it's a fun jaunt. Yeah, but a big event just exploded. Literally. So we're going to figure out what's happening there. And I think I only have an hour left of reading. So it will go really, really quickly. And hopefully at the end of it, it's still a jolly good time. And I can tell you that. Sorry that it's a bit boring of an update, but a lot happened. We tracked down somebody I thought was suspicious is suspicious, and the cousin brothers, their plotline turned out how I expected as well. And yes, I'm very intrigued to see all the other little questions I have in the plot as well, see how it comes out. But I'll interrupt. But I'll inform you in the morning what becomes of our Newt and Major or whatever he is. Whatever he is. Good morning, creatures. Good morn to thee. I have finished Newt's Emerald by Garth, and I actually had a good time. Now, is it the deepest, most complex characters? Is there great in-depth focus on their backgrounds and their needs? No. No, it's not. Is the romance a little quick? A little, they are antagonistic and then suddenly she's like, oh, maybe I'm into him. Yes. And does he say, I never want to marry, but then is like, by the end, absolutely. But it was fun. It wasn't the most complex. It was simple, fairly straightforward. There was no great battle scenes or anything. So while it wasn't the most complex storytelling and the characters were sort of at this level rather than really deep, I had a great time with it. And so I gave it a 4 stars. It was fun. You have Newt, or Truthful, and she doesn't pick up on hints well, but I've discovered that maybe as an author, I pick up on things more than the general audience, or some things just I need to not want mystery on all the time, because I could see through a rather big plot point. One of the big plot points is kind of given away early on. I don't think Garth needed to reveal it. I think we could have discovered it with the characters. I'm trying to think of why we needed it revealed to us. We could have still had it hinted, but whether it was needed to reveal. Anyway, there was just a few things that could have been done differently. But it was still fun. And that's what I wanted out of the book, was fun. I did utilize the audiobook because that was really nice. The audiobook was fun. It helped get through the story. It was a really short story, so I think it made it so that you couldn't delve deep into super complexity, but I liked that it was quick because you didn't really have any super slow moments. I know some people find it slow, but I didn't. For me personally, it was really only the beginning 2 chapters. Or chapter, yeah, that was a bit slow, but we were setting up who the character was in the family. So 4 stars for Newt's Emerald by Garth, which brings us to our second read of the video, An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret, Rogerson. I've had some mixed reviews of this since I added it. I know a couple of people that I followed who didn't love it. One was speaking about the whole really old fae, really young, sweet 18-year-old or young person, which I agree. Also, I find stupid. Same in Throne of Glass, where you have a really old fae, I won't say the characters, a really old fae and then a 19-year-old. I know some people say that fae mature or whatever slower than the human or something. Like, it's the equivalent of. And I'm like, so what you're telling me is fae are dumb. That's what I hear when people say that. I'm like, so to fae are dumb. But also, I find that old humans, some of the dumb ones don't mature either. And yet I wouldn't go around thinking an old man with a youngster is any good, you see. The bad ones quite often haven't the maturity to conduct themselves properly. So if we're talking about, oh, they don't mature until they're up. Have you seen humans? It's still creepy. It's still creepy. Anyway, so when I read old fae 18-year-olds, I delete the age gap. I usually switch it up and say, okay, she's 19 and he is 21. And we go from there. So usually, unless they really go into, he's been around for years and he's battled wars and he's been blah 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 blah. Usually I can believe my falsehood. Like, it would literally, oh, no. Anyway, that's usually what I do in fae books. So unless they really go into the huge age gap stuff, I can look past it. Anyway, for this one, we are following a girl who can paint emotions. I believe I told you earlier. If not, you get it again, welcome. So we have a girl, she paints emotions into her paintings, and unfortunately she paints sorrow into the eyes of a fae prince or something. Autumn prince, the autumn prince, Rook. She is Isabel. And supposedly that's a crime, because fae, they're not meant to feel emotions. It must affect him somehow. Anyway, so he takes her to the Feywild to be tried for her crimes. And I believe these fae are the pesky, conniving, evil kind of fae usually. And our main character must be a sweet bean. I'll dive into this and I will let you know as I progress how I feel about it. Oh, she's 17. There are 297 pages in this. So I'll let you know how it goes. We are 29% through an Enchantment of Ravens. And it's time for our first update. So what have I discovered? Alright, so we're following Isabel, who unfortunately is 17 years old. Ignore the rooster, he's shocked as well. And she's an artist. She paints portraits for the fae. They pay her in enchantments and different things, but she's been dealing with fae since she was very, very young. Even younger than 17. Shut up, rooster. Anyway, she does a portrait for the Prince of the Autumn Kingdom of the Fae. He hasn't been seen for ages, then he pops in and has his portrait done, and he seems pretty down to earth, really. I kind of like him as a character. However, our girl notices that in his eyes, something that should be impossible, i.e. sadness and curiosity and all these different things that are considered human emotions, she sees it in his eyes, this sorrow, and so she paints it in. And she's like, wow, I've captured him perfectly now. And he has to go away because there's hunts which are done by the Winter Court or something, anyway, to kill murder, and so he goes to counter that. Anyway, so he says, I'll just send the painting to my court. He doesn't actually see it. And a little while later he shows up and is like, what have you done? Now this is very insta attraction and insta love. Obviously now that the prince has kidnapped her, she doesn't like him as much, supposedly. And here's the thing, I'm actually really enjoying it. I just wish authors didn't keep making 16, 17-year-olds get romanced by billion-year-old fae. Here's the thing, because I'm actually enjoying the story, I'm going to suspend that fact. I'm going to remove that fact from the equation. I'll put it in my review, of course, and it will affect the rating, but why do they have to make them so young? I think it's for relatability, but I'm like, give the readers older protagonists. They won't care. Just age these ones up a bit. So that is one thing that I'm not happy about, is the 17-year-old protagonist in Isabel, especially when it's a fictional world. Like, fair enough, some of the medieval ones, it was done. They married young. Still was a horrible thing, but it happened. But it's a fictional world, you don't have to have that. You don't have to. So yeah, that is one minus point to it. But overall, I'm enjoying the story. And I like the Feyblok's character. And I like Isabel's character. There was another scene with a toilet scene. let's just say a toilet scene appeared. And I don't appreciate toilet scenes. I know it happens. But I don't enjoy reading it. So I'm intrigued to see how the rest of it goes. So yeah, I'm over a quarter of the way through. And I'm enjoying it so far. So we'll see if it continues along this enjoyable path that I just have to rewrite a few of the details so that it's not creepy with the age gap. I'm doing the audiobook along with reading, and then sometimes I'll stop the audiobook and just read. So I'm getting through it quickly that way. Alrighty, so that is a book. I am flying through an Enchantment of Ravens. There's no explicit scenes so far, but they did have a moment of temptation. Yeah. So it's mentioned, but nothing happens, just to be aware of. And there's also several moments where she may be exposed. Her clothes may go bye-bye momentarily, not for too long. And Rook, who is the male MC, he's a gentleman about it. So we've been in the Fae world for a while now, and it feels like nothing much is happening, but a lot is happening character-wise. So I'm enjoying myself. It's very whimsical, woods, forest, magic, folk, fae folk vibes. She's used her little magic. She doesn't have magic. She uses her talent, her art, to do some painting for the folk. And there's the Spring Court's prince, Gladfrey, or Gladfrey, what's his name? Gladfrey, sorry, Gadfly, I think, yeah, he's got several sides to him, so I think they're leading you one way, but it could be another way. You know, one of those twisty timey-wimey things, those double crossing people. He might be good, he might be bad, we don't know. So I've been devouring the book. I am up to page 255. I was going to check in earlier, but family was around, so I couldn't be bothered, and I was just sitting on the veranda reading away. So yeah, only 40 pages left, 42 pages left, I think we have. I'm enjoying myself. Yeah, there definitely a couple of things that, you know, you'd have to discern yourself over. I wouldn't have really young kids reading it, but upper YA I think would be fine with it. There's nothing too explicit, but there are just a few little references, and it's not all the way through, it's just moments of it. So, and again, I've aged up the girl, so it's not weird. So but yeah, I'm gonna finish up the book now and let you know my final thoughts. I have completed An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. I enjoyed my time. So there's definitely just one scene where sex is mentioned, so just be aware of that if you don't like that. Nothing explicit. They're just tempted to, but then decide not to. And then the age thing, which I mentioned in my review as well. And yeah, but otherwise I enjoyed it. I liked Rook, who is our male main character. He's just sweet. You know, all along, it is kind of insta-lovey, it is. But, you know, insta-lovey, and then they just deny their feelings for a while. I would say it almost leans towards cozy, because the stakes are there, but they're not imminent. And then we're working on stuff, but it's not imminent. And then when the danger does come, I don't know, it's not super stressful or high stakes. I'd say it was more like Emily Wilde level pace, but I think it's a bit faster than that one. And it doesn't go super deep into relationships or other characters or anything, but it's a nice, lighter fantasy read in that sense. So yeah, I think I give it 4 stars. I wouldn't mind reading it again. I think I'd reread it just when I want something easy to read. And yeah, so that's that one for our next library book. And I will check in another day when I decide to read the next library book on our list, which could be any of 3. So I'll let you know whether I'm in for another fantasy or maybe the penguin one. Penguins or fantasy? Guess we'll find out. Hello, I am here with an update for the reading library. I have an update for this library reading challenge. Is it a challenge? It's just library reading, really. There's no real challenge about it. It's just I want to use library books more. I read a couple of chapters of Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I will say the writing is very atmospheric. It's pretty, and I think if the story was anything else, I would love it. However, the story just doesn't vibe with me, I think. I could tell from the couple of chapters that it wasn't going to be my kind of book. We were introduced to Jax. I didn't mind Jax. He seemed okay. I didn't hate him or have horrible vibes of him. It was more the main character, Evangeline. She's very ditzy, fairy tale female protagonist. And I didn't support her motivation. So when she gets challenged to kiss people upon Jack's request, and it's not going to be him, it's just going to be random other people, whoever he chooses, which was weird. I didn't like that request from Jax, but anyway, her motivation just was not in line with anything that I even like, so she was also a little all over the place, let's be honest. So I decided I wouldn't read that one. I wouldn't even call it a DNF because I only got a couple of chapters in, so I just marked it as, okay, I'm not interested in reading that book or continuing it. That has gone back to the library. And I have begun our next book, which is Away with the Penguins by, Hazel Pryor? The stickers are in the way. I believe I've said it, but a lady in our library book club read it, and she said it was okay. And I, of course, love penguins, so I have started it, and there haven't been many penguins yet. There's a secret box that we know nothing about, but she seems to be like, oh, don't open that box. And instead of a grumpy old man, we have a grumpy old woman. Her social worker or whatever that comes in to every now and then to help her out, she doesn't get along with her. She doesn't like the woman, let's put it that way. So that's where we're really at this point. I haven't gotten far into it. She likes this certain documentary presenter, and he just spoke on penguins. And it's in first person, and I believe we get several points of view. But currently, we only have our main character, who is Veronica. I decided I needed to film this clip so that I would actually feel motivated to sit down and read this. I am also doing my buddy reads, and I only have until the end of this month to get these books back, even though technically my thing goes into next month, my hold, because, surprise, surprise, I'm not going to be here in Feb. Therefore, I have to get these books back. And I returned Once Upon a Broken Heart and withdrew another one. It was a trade. So I still have this one, Axios one, and then a historical fiction, which is called The Librarian Spy. Which sounded intriguing. But this is next on the list. We must read this one. I'm going to see if there's a audiobook that I can read alongside it, just to help me get started at least. And we'll go from there. So, I'm here. I'm a percentage through Away with the Penguins. I'm gonna sit and try and knock it out of the park, really. That's the goal. Yesterday, I formatted and did my book for Amazon, so I'm trying to take a couple of days now, and then I'll go in and make sure I set up everything else for other things, and then from there, the whole process. But I'm trying not to exhaust myself. So we're gonna read today. And, so far, we have the old lady, who is, I think Irene, but it might not be. Irene? No, neither. Eileen is a lady who comes in and helps out Veronica, who is our older lady. She's on her own. She finds out she has a grandson, because she had a son that she gave up for adoption, and then that son has passed away, but he had a son called Patrick. And Patrick is he's a bit of a mess, to be honest. And so this is an adult general fiction, contemporary fiction. And so there is a bit of drug use and mentions, as well as a few mentions of sex as well, but nothing explicit so far. So currently, our old lady has decided she's got this fixation after seeing a show about penguins, and now she has increasingly got more and more obsessed with it, and has decided to go visit the penguins, and she plans, if that goes well, to just give over money. She's not exactly close to her grandson. The grandson may have not given the best first impression, let's just give that, and yeah. So she thinks he's after her money, and he's not really, but, he's trying to make it work, but also, she hasn't been in his life, and a lot has gone wrong. I'm on page 82 of the book. I mean, it's not exactly jumping out at me, but it's not a bad read either. I am listening to the audiobook as I read it, though, just to help me through it. And the accents and the audio do help. So, I'm going to go through this, and then we can move on to another book, because we're not quite a third through. But hopefully I finish it up when I just focus. And I'll check in later if I get any more information or thoughts. Alright, I've been binging the book, and I have like 90 pages to go. I've had a few tears. I've cried. Veronica in her youth, she was a bit of what they call a wild child. She may have entered into a relationship when she was 15. And subsequent stuff happened, but it was all during the war. So really it was the war, getting separated from her parents, because, you know, they sent all their kids and stuff out of the cities. So I may have cried quite a bit, to be honest. So clearly there is implications of sex, pregnancy, and other more serious topics that would revolve around such a thing. There's a bit of a spoiler, so I can't tell you about it, but yeah, it was sad. I think I like Veronica. She is very closed off, but when you see how her life has been, you sort of understand why she is. As every person is different, do I think cutting yourself off from everyone and becoming a bit of a grumpy grandma is the best way to deal with your trauma and grief? No, but it doesn't seem like she has much of a support around her, so she had no real avenue to take, and therefore she has become a bit closed off. But she's opening up, so that's good. And Patrick, we kind of just stumbled across him when he was in a rough patch of life, so he wasn't exactly likable. But you know, he's an okay character to follow too, and it's through him that you find out a lot of Veronica's past. So it's definitely a required POV. So now we get to see what happens to Veronica, the penguins, and Patrick. And I think there's like 2 or 3 other books in the series as well. So we'll see what happens at the end of this one. I assume it's not all wrapped up, but maybe it wraps up this section and they just introduce a new avenue for the future ones. But I'm not sure. I do tend to be a binger, so like I can not read a book or start reading a book and be very slow, and then the moment I just sit down and spend time with it, I binge it so quickly. I'm just like, oh, let me devour the book. So I fear I am a binger of a person. So a K-drama is releasing 2 episodes a week that I'm watching, and look, it's okay. I think I almost need that with K-dramas, because sometimes I binge watch the first 6 episodes or 6-7 hours of K-drama, and then I never go back. You know, I'm a strange being, and I'm going to read the rest of this book today. And then I might watch my K-drama episode that was released today. So. Library reading. I also need to go get myself some lunch, but that will be separate. I'll check in like 2 seconds probably. I have completed Away with the Penguins by Hazel Pryor. It is a adult fiction contemporary. So the ending was rather cute. It was all wrapped up nicely. As I say, there are more in the series, but I assume it just encapsulates a whole other story. There were plenty of penguin references, penguin moments. There were a few moments, I think it did fairly well, but there were just a few minutes where the conservation thing came across as a bit preachy. Like, this bit is put in to have the conversation about this, rather than it naturally occurring. I mean, they are scientists, so it's somewhat natural. But at the same time, the way it was written was very preachy. But it's to be expected, because she goes to the Antarctic, where they're trying to follow the penguins and stuff. So I was expecting it to be in the book. As for the tale, there were a few definitely content warnings, just with some of the stuff that Veronica has gone through in the past. But overall, it was a pleasant enough read. The fellow scientists and then Patrick and that, they were nice to have around, and Patrick took a bigger role than the others, of course. But Terry was probably a secondary character that was most involved. We didn't get her point of view. We only got Patrick and Veronica's point of view. And then a random one at the end. I'm not sure how I feel about the epilogue. I don't think I really needed that 1 page of epilogue from a completely new point of view. I mean, it gave some answer to some of the questions left by Veronica's past. And unless it ties in, but it doesn't seem like something that would tie in. But it's sort of left on a happy note, and then you get to the epilogue and you're like, oh. Okay. So I'm not sure how I feel about the epilogue. But otherwise, yeah, a decent book. Again, not the greatest book in the world, but I gave it a 4 stars for what it is. The penguin content was adequate. I mean, it's not all about the penguins, but there's enough penguin stuff and penguin facts to be penguin. Anyway, so we have completed Away with the Penguins, which is the 3rd book. Now, I do have 2 more books, which I could attempt to finish in this video, or I could wrap it up. Alright, so I have decided I will stop this vlog here for this library reading. I did technically start the next one, but I'll put that one in the next video because this video is getting, well, it's getting long. So we already did 3 full reviews and then one other one that I got and gave you a brief description as to why I was not going to be reading it. So I think it's fine to leave it here, and you'll see The Floating World and other ones in the next video. If you've made it this far, thank you. For one, let me know if you've read any of them, whether you're excited for The Floating World by Axio or whatever, or if you have any suggestions for any library books I could pick up. I can check if it's at mine, and it's a great way to try books before you buy books, because I am a trophy collector, not a TBR gatherer. I shall leave you here, thank you again, and I shall see you all in the next video. Until then,
ATINYログ